if you do agree that he has a case to answer, when do you think this would have been brought up that it wouldn't look so political?
You see, if politicians at times will make slips, and one of those slips is, if for any reason they had packaged this matter well, because I do know what is behind, all they require is get 3 or 4...
What is behind?
I'm coming.
Okay.
So get 3 or 4 public officers, charge them along. On the surface, it will look like this is part of the anti-corruption thing, and that it happened that Saraki happened to be one of them. They would have satisfied 2 things. One, the promise the president made to the international community through President Amampo that even members of his own party, if he finds out that they are corrupt, that he's going to charge them, Saraki would have fallen into that group. He would have satisfied the Nigerian people that a big fish is being tried, along with other people. Because there are other people. Very many. I mean, once you pass through government, there must be something about you that has. In short, it was while I was looking at this CCB matter that I now found out that a particular section of the Constitution debars you from collecting another pension or any other remuneration after you have gone on retirement and you are entitled to pension. Half of the people in the National Assembly are either retired generals or retired. So they are collecting pensions from several sources and all of that. All you require is just pick up something. The governors that are all wasting, they have signed one thing or the other that are against. I mean, it's so easy to contravene the Constitution or even the CCB. Bring about 3 or 4 of them.
Is that out
and
of...
And then you get a public appeal.
Okay, is that out...
But you see, they slipped. They slipped by bringing one person.
Just a moment. Is that out of a lack of knowledge? Because you've talked about how if you go through government, there will always be something to hold against you.
Yes.
But some people will beg to disagree. Yes, you might do 1 or 2 things out of ignorance. But when we look at the plethora of things that, people are being accused of, could we say that it was truly out of ignorance or negligence or greed?
Marco, put it another way. If government is looking for you, not, okay, if I say you go through government, well, if government is looking for a way of silencing you or putting you in your place, there is always something to... Let's not forget too far. What happened not too far away or too far in the past. David Mack. I'm sorry, Tam David West. Tam David West was one person who gave government a lot of trouble, because he was a very clean person. He didn't take any bribe from anybody. He said he had only one house. The government of Babangida wanted to deal with him. They tried to see if they could accuse him of something. They got something called empty tumor, that he bought empty tumor, in a very fraudulent manner, only to find out that he was the minister before him, or it was the empty tumor ship was bought before he came to NNPC. Do you know what they charged him for? That he drank 1 cup of tea and received a wristwatch. And we thought it was a joke. He went to jail. I still have in my mental image of Tam David West climbing the Black Maria, and he went to jail in Bama prison. Yeah, but government is looking for you. They will always find
my point is, I mean, in that kind of instance, it was one can say it's a clear case of witch hunting, because they looked and looked and looked and looked.
Good.
But in this case, you don't even have to look too hard.
That's why I'm saying that this case is particularly bad, in the sense that it looks to me ex facie, that is on the surface of it, that Saraki has a case to answer. I'm not the judge, but you see, from what I have looked at and a few things that we read in the media and all of that, he may need to answer questions. And so, in other words, he has kind of nailed himself. I wouldn't say nailed himself, but he has a case to answer. Let's stop there. But what we're now saying is that, why is it Saraki? The reason is that the coincidence is so much. He had defied the party's position and he got elected, as Senate president. The party did not like it and have not made any pretenses about it. They are after him and they will remove him. You know how they are going to remove him? Is one of the powers of CCT is that if they convict you, they remove you from office. They bar you from holding any public position for 10 years. They can also charge you to a regular court and you go to jail, even with the first 2. If they bar him from holding any public office or when they said remove him from office, I'm not sure the Constitution envisaged removal of a Senate president, but that is an office. So that will be a constitutional matter when we get to that bridge, whether they are capable of removing him directly from the CCT. Another is that if they are not capable of doing that, they would have sent agitation to the Senate. And the Senate will now say, look, the headship of this Senate has a case to answer, a fraud case. And for the integrity and respect of this Senate to continue, we need him to step aside. And like Olisabakaba said yesterday, that it will be resolved. Part of the resolution may well be, if you don't want to go to jail, you better step down on your own.
Yeah, but the question then will be, because it's a very dangerous insinuation I will be making, that the courts, tribunals, all of them are subject to the whims and caprices of politicians.
They are not.
People
are simply bringing cases
say,
the way any formal case should be charged.
If we say, for instance...
They are not being used.
No, just a moment. If we say that, it is for certain that, he's going to go in for it, this is what is going to happen there. First of all, it was seen that we presumed him guilty, and he might not be. That's on the one hand. On the second hand, it might also be that, if he is not guilty, or if this case goes on and it's getting prolonged and he reaches a bargain with his political party, how does that affect the trial in the CCT? Does it mean that they will tell the CCT, well, right now we're fine, or it's okay, leave this case alone? How is it going to play out? Aren't they going to see this case through to the end?
Well, Marcus, you brought me here to talk about the political angle to it. There is always a political angle to such matters. And one or two things will be agreed on. And the people who are prosecuting him will suspect that. Please make a distinction between the CCT, which is actually like a court, that's a tribunal, and the CCB, which is an agency of government. As a matter of fact, it's part of the presidency. You get the point? Good. So the CCB is part of government. And they are the people who are charging. The court is there, and if you bring a case against George Eke to any court, they will simply look at it on the merit. And not that we are saying that Saraki is going to go to jail or that he has it. We don't even know the merit of the case. Yeah, you get the point? But what we are saying is that the court is most likely going to hear it. And the court is not being used by anybody. The court is simply there. Once you charge a case, the court must decide one way or the other. But that wasn't the impression quite a number of Nigerians were given. Because if we begin to say things like, I'm not sure I'm going to get justice or my right to be protected in this court, I'm going to go to the Federal High Court to see how it is I can stop this trial or to seek for the protection of my rights, then don't you think that there is already some presumption that the person who is going to be sitting on that court might not be fair or could be biased? Yeah, sure. All of those are decisions that a litigant or an accused person will have to make. Which court to approach and which right court to approach in any case, that's legally speaking, which court has jurisdiction over what I'm about to litigate upon. And if you're an accused person, whether you want to challenge the jurisdiction of the court and all of that, those are part of the legal process. So when they happen, it has only to do with maybe the confidence you have with that court. It probably will have, but at the end of the day, like what we're going to see this morning, Saraki is going to appear before the CCT.